Fantasy football season is here, is now, and we're going to prepare you for the first round. Listen, we don't say we're experts in this field. We're regular dudes like you, but we play fantasy football. We love fantasy football, and we're here to give you our thoughts on who's going in the first round in drafts this year. Now, keep in mind it's PPR, and let's get to it. But before we get into it, if you're with us, thank you so much. I'm one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I cheer for the LA Chargers. And across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, and like Quinn said, we're going to kind of look at the average or the ADP or the players in the top 12 of ADP and kind of go over why they should be there, maybe an argument that could be made for why they should not be where they are placed. But we'll pull that up here and we'll kind of just jump right in, see who the top 12 are.
Yeah, wave the techie wand. Here we go. Welcome back to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast.
Yes.
So, Brandon, you're going to be going with the odds. Give me the reasons for Christian McCaffrey at 101.
Yeah, okay. So looking at CMC, I guess he's won one because everybody says he's won one. But at the same time, it's just like the guy, he scored, I think, third most points overall total PPR last season.
You're right. Third PPR at 391.3 points. Only behind Josh Allen and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, but compared to any other running back, he's quite high. Like no other running back comes close to the amount of points that he scored. So for his position, especially with most of the first round being wide receivers, he's kind of an outlier because if you get him, it's a cheat code at the position. Your RB1 position will always beat out your opponent's RB1 position. In most cases, obviously, week to week, you don't know what happens. But on the average, the guy is a freak, and he scores a lot of points, in the NFL and also for fantasy. So looking at what he may have upgraded this season, I guess we have one more year of development for Brock Purdy. We have one less wide receiver possibly in Brandon Ayuk that is on the trade block. Even today, supposedly they were in talks with 3 separate teams to trade Ayuk. We'll have to see how that pans out. We don't really know. Yeah. But if he's gone, maybe CMC gets more of the workload, right? Like the ball has to go somewhere. And 100%. Ayuk can demand the ball, with his play, which is, good for him. But without him, how good is the guy who's going to step up to that play? Is he going to be in a position to get the ball often? Or is CMC going to be waiting there? Like, hey, Purdy, I'm open. Get me for 4 yards, and that's 1.4 points in PPR. So I think that's the case for CMC. He remains the guy there. He remains the number one option at running back, and it's miles above the next guy, in my opinion. So that's the case for.
Absolutely. And hey, you made valid points there. But I gotta push you on some of those, So I'll throw you a bone here. You said he is miles ahead of the next running back. Well, looking back, and this is as per Fantasy Pros, looking back to last year, Breece Hall was RB2 at 14 overall.
Yeah.
So CMC there at 3, next one up at 14. Yeah. But going to your other point that you mentioned about the potential that Brandon Ayuk could be shipped out of San Francisco. I believe I read a report that the Pittsburgh Steelers are out of the race. I don't know if that was one of the 3 that you had read, but the trade demands were just too high for them, leaving the New England Patriots, who were always in contention. It seemed they were rumored to go after Ayuk, and then also the Cleveland Browns, which I find interesting. But because he's being shipped out of town, Deebo Samuel, oft injured. George Kittle, oft injured. Now, I don't wish injury on anybody, and I hope they have a healthy and full season because Kyle Shanahan can draw up crazy offensive plays and score you and your fantasy team a lot of fantasy points. But that's the reality. Trent Williams, well, he's holding out for another contract. Now, I assume that they're going to give in and pay the best left tackle, no matter the age, a ton of money here. But you've also got Brock Purdy, system QB, now one less option downfield with Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel, he's more that underneath guy. Him and CMC in the backfield, deadly duo. So all eyes, in my opinion, are going to be on the San Francisco 49, or sorry, on CMC on the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
I think it's just too much. I think he's also got a lot of tread worn off on the tire. He's been in the league for so long, and he's been atop the podium in fantasy football rankings for so long. A cheat code, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I just think this year he's going to take a step back. I really do. And 101, no matter how important the running back position is, because of the plethora of wide receivers out there, CMC is too high for me. Because I believe that pick 102 should be 101.
You're taking Lamb if you had first pick?
I am taking CeeDee Lamb, at 101. But I get him. If I'm second pick, I'm happy. This guy, PPR machine. So first player in fantasy football last year is Josh Allen. Second, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb scored 12 more points than CMC. He did play one more game than CMC, but he was an absolute monster. I believe it was week 1 last year, and CeeDee Lamb was not getting the targets, and he was pissed off, bit of that diva wide receiver act, and he says, just throw me the ball. Well, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott heard him loud and clear. From there, it was just a monster performance. Week after week, he was dependable. It was shocking to me. I got him in the early second round last year, and I was happily surprised.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb this year, well, we look at the Dallas Cowboys, still an offensive minded Mike McCarthy playing for his career. Dak Prescott still playing for a contract. They're going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be making it happen. They lose Michael Gallup. They lose Tony Pollard. They're going to have to get that ball out, and now more targets for CeeDee Lamb, even more than last year, because he has way less competition. No matter what the reports are, Jalen Tolbert is going to be that guy out there. There's always that camp guy that shows up. It's not going to be a regular season guy, and that's where the Dallas Cowboys thrive. The regular season is good for fantasy football.
Yeah. See, I hear what you're saying. And it's kind of like this double-edged sword how Michael Gallup's gone. It's less targets or more targets for Lamb now. But that's also like, if there's a balance, right? Because that's kind of the same thing that you said against CMC is that Deebo's often injured, Kittle's often injured, so there's more eyes on CMC. Well, that's the same here, right? CMC's been in the league a long time. People know what he's going to be doing. I'm sure he innovates, whatever. But CeeDee Lamb this is his 5th year now.
Right.
5th year. That's quite a bit of time, but the guy just got his new contract. Was he playing last year for a contract? Did he have more motivation? I'm not going to call into question, really how hard the guy works or anything like that. But these are realities of things that happen in the league. Some guys get paid and they don't live up to that contract, at least immediately, in some cases. So for CD, like, there's too many question marks and so much drama around the Cowboys team that it's not like it could end poorly in the way that when he was really, really frustrated last year, and yes, he called for the ball, and then yes, they made it happen, but that frustration can get to someone. And when he's already had possibly a diva attitude, all that stuff kind of can build, especially now that he's gotten paid. Maybe there's more of an ego. Dak is
talking about CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb getting paid?
He got paid.
When did he get paid?
Didn't he get paid?
I don't think CeeDee Lamb got paid.
I thought he got paid just under JJ.
No, he is now put on the reserve / did not report list amid contract rumors, bro.
Yeah, what am I
That's
even
why I'm
talking
giving you
about?
Stank eyes. Stank eyes. So now you admit CeeDee Lamb 101. He's still
No,
playing for that
okay,
contract.
sorry. What I
All
meant
your
to say,
arguments-
wait. What I meant to say was
Go
this
on.
guy's being disrespected by his team. He can't even get a contract.
Oh.
Why did I think he got paid? Who the hell got? Oh, it's Tyreek that re-upped, I guess. But
Yeah,
I really
Tyreek
thought-
did re-up. Yeah, because CeeDee Lamb should have got paid. The Cowboys are in a kerfuffle. All right,
They're not paying anything.
Yes, and Micah Parsons, Dak
Okay.
Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb, they're screwed. But yeah,
Disregard-
he's not.
Disregard everything I said. CeeDee Lamb's not
Right.
even going to play this season. He's going to hold out the whole season. You guys can't choose him 1-2 because the guy won't even play.
Right. Damn it. That's how you make
I
a lot of
actually-
money. Ask Le'Veon Bell, right?
Exactly. But also this guy, like the diva holding out. JJ never. He would never. CeeDee
never.
Lamb is holding out here. And he even said that he's okay like not being paid Jefferson wage. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
pissed off at the team. Hey, my point about the Cowboys still stands. They're in a weird situation where they're all in again, as Jerry Jones says. But he says that every year. But they're not paying a lot of guys. And it's just like an odd situation there. I know that the Cowboys often have more media coverage than most teams in the league. They're kind of like the Lakers in that sense. Very critiqued, but the Cowboys are in a strange situation. I don't know. I wouldn't really trust that there would be no outside factors like off the field. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things with that organization that are just kind of weird that maybe that would cause some hesitation to choosing Lamb.
Right. They're always in the limelight, and yes, distractions occur. And these types of players, high-profile players, you have potentially the top 3 most important positions.
Yeah.
Arguably top 4.
Yeah.
In quarterback, wide receiver, and your edge defender, needing to get paid the big bucks. But I hear you, CeeDee Lamb. You don't think so, but you also don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm
Tyreek Hill.
coming up with I'm coming up
you're
with
leading
the anti.
into why Tyreek Hill should be 103.
Okay, why he should be 103. This guy will be similar, possibly, to another guy later. But anyways, this guy's chasing 2,000 yards. It's not something that he is keeping a secret. This guy absolutely wants to get to 2,000 yards, which he almost did last year. He definitely had a chance, and even the year before, too. He is chasing that. That's a point that the whole team is getting behind him for. Yes, he just got paid, but this is something that's very important. Obviously, winning championships and doing all that other stuff, but this is a personal accolade that he wants to have happen, that his quarterback wants to happen for him, that his coach wants to have happen for him. So this is a team that's behind Tyreek Hill, and he's their focal point, right? Like Tua got paid, but Tua's not the focal point of that offense. Dak, you could say, is for CeeDee Lamb. There's a couple things there. There's a lot of teams where the quarterback is very focused, but Tyreek is very much the most prominent character and player on that offense. And so the ball is going to go through him. He makes a lot of decisions. If he wants the ball more, he's going to get the ball more. It's going to be schemed for him, all that kind of stuff, because the team is behind him. So I think Tyreek is a great pick at 3. I think he deserves to be anywhere from 1 to 3 for sure.
Okay. Tyreek Hill.
The cheetah.
Fastest player in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
Micah Parsons might have something to say to that. Tyreek Hill, newly paid wide receiver, getting more guaranteed money than any other wideout in NFL history. Man, Tyreek Hill chasing 2,000 yards. Tyreek Hill's also been in the league for how long? Several seasons. This guy does get injured. Not off injured, but he does get injured. He's playing with Tua, who also gets injured, who also has questionable quarterback play. He's playing in an offense where Jalen Waddle is going into the next year of development. He's playing in a season where he has to go wherever the heck he went to get stem cell treatment done for him to help him with his blood flow and was it muscle regeneration? He's feeling it. He's feeling the age. I believe 30 years old this season, and he's in an offense. Devon Achane popular fantasy pick for a lot of people this year. We all know how number one player in the NFL, as voted by the players, first time wide receivers up there. We all know how he has played. Going forward, I think it's tough. I think Tyreek Hill has lackluster quarterback play. Excuse me, Dolphins. No matter what I believe back in the 2020 NFL draft, we all see how it's played out now. Tyreek Hill, another year older. I think they're gonna wait. They're gonna ease him into this, or not ease him into the season, but they're definitely gonna put him on a little bit of a watch going forward. Especially the Dolphins, high power offense. They just went out, added more pieces on their defense. They're still a contender, and if they're in the running, they don't have to play Tyreek Hill as much. You save him for the postseason, get him as that explosive unit that he is out there. Dolphins are long term. We all know players, coaches don't give an F about our fantasy football teams, except for Austin Eckler. Sad to see you go, buddy. Tyreek Hill, in my mind, when you look down at the wide receivers below, wide receivers, I think there are a couple that are in contention to maybe take over that wide receiver 2 spot. And that brings me to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, oh my goodness. He has had a wild ride of a roller coaster in fantasy football. He's that boom or bust type player. It's the same argument with so many mouths to feed there, but then you've got Joe Burrow, who's missed nearly half of his career, which does not help the situation. You have T. Higgins playing for a contract. No, not sure if he's going to get traded there. Jamar Chase is hungry. Jamar Chase is playing for a contract. Doubt he's going to get his contract this year. We talked about it last year. Wide receivers don't often get it until the last year in their contract. So he's playing for that. He wants to beat Jets. He wants to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. So he's going to be balling out this year. Jamar Chase. I'm excited for Jamar Chase this year.
Isn't that guy who can't catch balls?
Yeah, like 4 years ago.
Yeah, whatever. That shit sticks, man. Except it doesn't. In his case, it doesn't stick. He can't catch balls. The guy sucks. He's never going to be JJ. I would never draft this man. He's not as good a receiver. That's all you need to know. Like, why would you choose this guy? Jamar Chase, and then I see underneath Justin Jefferson. That doesn't make any sense at all. Everybody knows Jefferson's better. I'm not going to get there because that'll be my next one.
No. Jump in. We already heard everything that we need.
Jamar Chase, bum. He sucks. His quarterback's hurt all the time. Don't choose that guy. He's worthless. Justin Jefferson, on the other hand, pick number 5. Wow, what a steal. Pick number 5.
Ew.
You know, I had the second pick in one of our drafts. He likely coming to me because why wouldn't I choose the best player available? Last year proved that he's QB proof. To play with Nick Mullins, who legendary Vikings quarterback Nick Mullins, legendary quarterback. I don't even remember the guy's name. He came to us, the pastronaut. I don't even remember that guy. Legendary.
Right.
Anyways, that's the no-name types that Justin Jefferson played with last year and still got to 1,000 yards after playing 10 games with 2 of them he got injured in. The guy's unreal. He's quarterback proof. He has proven that last year. He has an emphasis this year on strictly staying healthy. He hasn't come out and said that he wants those 2,000 yards like he has in the past, because that was his goal, was to kind of move up and up and up. Last year was a little bit underwhelming for him, and you took a hit. So Justin Jefferson, I think, deserves that 1-1 spot. We're going to come back to this later, and you're going to say, shit, why didn't we choose Justin Jefferson when I had a chance? I was picked 1 to 4, and I didn't take him. Yeah, he's the one. He's the one you want. That's all I have to say.
I think
quarterback proof.
Listen, I'm not going to talk ill about Justin Jefferson. We all know the talent that he is. No.
Because
but I'm
you
going to give you a reason why he's not 5. This is not talking ill, but
nothing you bad.
I believe truly the wide receiver underneath him deserves to be considered 1 spot ahead of Justin Jefferson. So Jefferson falling down a little bit, it's not a big deal in my books. I think that is fair because of the quarterback unit. And yes, you say, oh, he's quarterback proof. Look at the guys he played with last year. True. But now you've got Sam Darnold throwing the ball. Sam Darnold had DJ Moore. Sam Darnold had Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk could not support any of those quarterbacks. And if you are playing the New England Patriots this year, no matter if Bill Belichick's on the sideline, he might be seeing some ghosts. All right? Which means that rookie sensation, in Harbaugh we trust, J.J. McCarthy is going to step in. Now, is it J.J. to Jets? Is that going to be J.J. to the J.J.? That's all we've wanted to hear. Yeah, I think so. Eventually. Because if we get to the point where Sam Darnold just ain't cutting it, well, J.J. McCarthy's going to be eased in like he is right now, which means run the ball. Let's establish the run. Let's play solid defense. Let's run out the clock and just physically beat and dismantle your opponent. Justin Jefferson, that means a lot less volume. So either way you slice it, yes, he's an elite talent, paid as such, but Amon-Ra St. Brown here at 6, I think should be ahead of Justin Jefferson. Now, why? Well, he's wide receiver 1 on the Lions offense, which is a high-flying offense as we've seen over the past few years. Jared Goff taking over the realm. They've got a tremendous offensive line. Given all the time in the world for the run, which means play action, which means Amon-Ra St. Brown's getting open. Now, he has some competition. Jameson Williams, whatever. I was pissed at you a few years back when the Vikings ended up trading interdivisionally with the Lions. He hasn't really shown up, so thank goodness. He is not a factor. Sam Laporta, he is a factor. Second year, could it be a sophomore slump? Well, we've seen that happen in a lot of players' cases. We already know the tight end position is tough in the NFL, and it's a developmental position to really get up there. So if you see a step back, okay. Also, Sam Laporta right now, injured. Now, we don't know how serious the injury is. I don't. But that leaves Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've got a solid running game. Defense going to come up, load the box. Amon-Ra St. Brown, elite route running, great speed, amazing hands. He's going to be scoring a lot of points.
His quarterback's Jared Goff. He got paid.
Yes, he did.
Jared Goff got paid. And he got paid once before, too, if I remember correctly.
He did, yes.
And then
this is his third contract.
And then he sucked, right?
For the Rams, yes.
And then he sucked. That's what happened. He got paid and then he sucked. Okay?
Is that going to happen? History going to repeat itself?
History's going to repeat itself. Okay?
No motivation.
No motivation. The guy got paid. He's got all he needs, okay? Amon-Ra St. Brown is a stud. We know he is a stud. But that offense, it's a coin flip. The way that they operate is either we're going to win it all on this play or we're going to lose it all on this play until the next play.
To in that moment.
Until the next play.
Sunblock. That's the answer.
Penei Sewell. Sometimes they throw to Penei Sewell. I'm not drafting Penei Sewell in here.
Right.
Anyway.
Sound.
Yeah, what a good argument. No, it's more like there's so much of a question mark, right? Like the stats over the season should reflect how it has been going. But that offense, it was very similar to the Staley offense. It's just the Staley era offense. They were flipping every fourth down. They were doing plays that are low percentage plays, and when they work out, you're a genius. And when they don't work out, you get fired, right? And so they've been working out for Dan Campbell's Lions, but it won't, like, that's not something that can be sustained throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean? And eventually, well, it's possible. There's a higher possibility in a team like that there could be a regime change at some point because of the results are not going their way. And so because of that, Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's like it's a coin flip often. It could be a lot of boom or bust, you know what I mean, on individual plays. I'm not talking about week to week, but there's a question mark there every time you're watching. You know what I mean? Every time you're watching, like, shit, are they just going to give the ball away? Are they going to give the ball away? And then now the offense is just, you know what I mean? It's a little rough, but, you know, anyway, so that's my thoughts there. And speaking of regime changes, that's why some people say that you should draft Bijan Robinson, number 7 here is where he's ranked.
Some people, right? Including you?
Some people, and I will tell you what those people are thinking currently, is that Bijan Robinson, he was drafted high last year. Rookie last year, you saw the plays on Instagram, these gnarly jukes that he had, these cuts that he had.
Yeah, just like stomp his foot in the ground and just crazy.
It was sick. And they have like the sky cam going over, and it was nuts. The guy has amazing talent, and he just had a coach that was holding him back. Apparently, that's what it was.
Who was that coach?
The coach, Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith.
He didn't want the team to succeed, so he did not play Bijan Robinson. He saw him every day in practice, saw that he was amazing and could help the team win, and said, I don't want my team to win. I would like to get fired here. So
I don't
now
like your sarcasm here,
Arthur Smith is gone, and so now the new coach will see, wow. It's not D'Amico. It is D'Amico. No, it's not D'Amico. D'Amico's Houston. Who's the new coach?
For the
Falcons?
Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris, yeah. Raheem Morris is going to see that Bijan Robinson is legit, and he's going to play him every game because he's going to help him win football games, which means he's going to be on the field all the time. He's going to get all the balls. He's got Kirk Cousins throwing. Kirk Cousins sucks. Check down machine. All the passes to Bijan Robinson. And you're going to get a lot of points out of him. He's going to be he's running back number 2 here. And for good reason.
Listen, Bijan Robinson, high hopes for him last year. And yes, regime change. Arthur Smith, we've heard us talk about this all the time. Of course, it's Arthur Smith to blame. Bijan was looking to be that rookie who's out of 1,000, right? He's joining that CMC club. But that did not happen. Now, why? Arthur Smith. Why is that not going to continue to happen? Well, you touched on Kirk Cousins there. Kirk Cousins likes to throw the ball. He really does. He's smart. He's that pocket passer. Of course, they're going to set up with the run. That offensive line in Atlanta, middle of the pack, I'd say. And Drake London is actually who I'm looking at. Kyle Pitts. This is going to be, they paid Kirk Cousins so much money. He's passing the damn ball. Yes, Bijan Robinson can catch. He's going to get those check downs. But it's going to be the Drake London show and Kyle Pitts, my man Kyle Pitts, who also drafted early in the first round there. He's going to get his own in this year, coming up to a contract year. So he's got to set it on fire, and that's why Bijan Robinson going to be left in the dust there. Yeah.
I don't see it.
But this next guy, I'm so happy that I have the argument for. I have experience with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown. That's his name, Brandon. Say it with me. A.J. Brown. I have experience with him. I had him paired last year. Now, you guys are all going to look at me. You had A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb. How the hell did you do that? You must be in a league with Joes. No. Legit league. I was at the end. Was able to get that at the turn. Fantastic combo. Yes, A.J. Brown had some slower days, but majority of it, he came back. If by halftime he didn't have a ton of points and those stats to back up his play, well, it came out in the second half. And especially during the end of the season, he really took off. And I see that momentum carrying forward into 2024. It's going to be nice. New OC. Jalen Hurts looking for a resurgence to show people that he deserved that money. A.J. Brown going to show that he deserved that money. And guess what? Devonta Smith got paid as well, but less than A.J. Brown. And that says something about the team's direction with this guy. A.J. Brown is going to be sweet this year. I like that pick down at 8.
Okay, you told him to say his name. That's his name, A.J. Brown. So it actually, for some reason, made me think, this is a little off topic, is J.J. McCarthy, our quarterback. What's his name? I've never looked it up, so I looked it up just now. It's Jonathan James McCarthy. And then I was like, okay, well, what's A.J. Brown's name? And I looked it up, and it says Average Joe Brown. That's the guy's name. His name is Average Joe Brown. The guy's average, man. Okay. New OC.
the Eagles hate.
Who's the OC? Kellen. What's his name?
Kellen Moore.
Oh man, I haven't heard of that guy since he was on Dallas. I just don't think he did anything last year. I think it was kind of whatever. Maybe he took a year off. I'm not so sure. So I think that new OC. Who cares? Okay, the team is falling apart. They're gonna say, "Oh, we're this, we're that, whatever." Jalen Hurts is the new flag football ambassador. That's where that guy's gone. Okay, so Jalen Hurts passing a who? Some average Joe? It doesn't even matter. That guy, he doesn't deserve a spot at 8. He doesn't deserve a spot in the first round. I don't understand why anybody would ever draft that guy. Who I might draft instead?
Who might?
Probably Breece Hall. He comes in at number 9.
Another running back.
You mentioned that he was the number 2 running back at
at 14
the
overall.
14th place. But that's with a bunch of quarterbacks in there too, right?
Yes.
In that list. So a lot of quarterbacks will fill up a lot of those top spots. But man, 14 for Breece Hall is pretty wild, especially because he had a stud next to him in Dalvin Cook last year. I don't know how he even got any playing time.
100 carries for -2 yards or something like that.
It was crazy. I don't know.
Deal.
It was pretty crazy.
Deal.
Wouldn't have done that on the Vikings. Anyways, Breece Hall, stud. Honestly, stud. I know they have a garbage line, but it doesn't seem to matter to this guy. This guy, it just, if he can actually get a season with Aaron Rodgers, it spreads the field so much. Aaron Rodgers is also known to have the best play action that there is, right? Mm-hmm. So every time this guy gets the ball, the defensive line, they're all worried that it's play action. They're not going to know that Breece Hall has the ball. It's just the way that Aaron Rodgers hands it off is deceptive. And so that's a big positive for Breece Hall. I know that it's just handing the ball off, but you had Zach Wilson handing the ball off. You had, I don't know much about those guys in that regard, but that is a big deal, is how you get handed the rock. And Absolutely. So Aaron Rodgers is an upgrade there. Also, like I said, spreading the field, he's going to have so much room to run. And this guy in the open field is unstoppable. He's so fast, so laterally quick. Breece Hall he's a stud. That's all. There's nothing else you can say about it. The guy's a stud. I understand that wide receivers are taken a lot more than running backs, especially early on. There's just so many more wide receivers. But as far as running backs go, it's hard to find better ones than this guy. And in my opinion, it's hard to find better wide receivers. You know what I mean? If we're looking at total points throughout a season, I bet you Breece Hall is going to beat out some of these guys that we've already talked about. So,
right. Interesting. Yeah, he has a lot of things going for him. Because of the way he finished last season, playing with nobodies, playing alongside a former stud at running back, so taking some of that thought process, the schemes away from Breece Hall a little bit. I believe he had a short injury in there too last year. But that's exactly it. Is Breece Hall. Now it's Aaron Rodgers' turn. It's Aaron Rodgers' turn. He lost a season in New York. They're paying him a lot of money, albeit he took a pay cut when he arrived in New York last year. He's still making a ton of money. I believe 40 mil still. They're getting maybe 2 seasons more out of him. His words, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe 2 seasons. They paid him a lot of money. They have Garrett Wilson coming up. Want to see if that pair is actually going to do something. Mike Williams, former stud. Once he comes back from injury, he's going to be that deep threat. Garrett Wilson's going to be that intermediate across the field, those crossers like JJ has, and Aaron Rodgers knows how to hit those because we've seen it time and time again with Devontae Adams. So Breece Hall, he's going to be good. But when you look at some of the guys below, I think other running backs, there is a reason to give pause for why Breece Hall should not be number 9 overall. Mm-hmm. Now, Puka Nacua. Now, let's transport to this world where Puka Nacua didn't get hurt in the joint practice with the LA Chargers. We don't know how serious it is. But he was taken off the field, and he was incredible as a rookie last year, breaking a ton of records, came out of nowhere, 5th-round rookie that the Rams picked up. Rams said, I'm trading all my first. You want to know why? Because I can find him late in the draft. And they did that with Puka Nacua. Awesome name, too. Puka Nacua. So he is now the young gun over there, catching passes from Matthew Stafford. And albeit Stafford throwing 2 interceptions, the Rams offense, 5 turnovers against the Chargers in that joint practice. Hey, they're going to figure it out. The defense is always a little bit more ahead than the offense is, especially early on with training camp. They're going to find a way to click. Cooper Kupp, he is getting long in the tooth. He's going to be a factor for sure, but Puka Nacua is going to take over that role this year. And Matt Stafford loves to find his number 1 target, and that's going to be Puka Nacua. I'm excited for some Puka Nacua. Brandon, what do you think?
I just looked it up, and I was right. Puka Nacua is just it's just nepotism. His brother plays for the Saints. Samson Nacua. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of just one of those guys, just nepotism. You know what I mean? That's what happens in the NFL.
I got drafted in New Orleans, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna hire him in LA, right?" Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Puka Nacua deserves all the respect that you can give him. That being said, people are forgetting that the Triple Crown winner is on that team. Okay? I see absolutely no reason that Puka Nacua is guaranteed the wide receiver 1 position. I honestly don't see it. I can understand him winning that position. I could see it. Is it guaranteed? Absolutely not. The other guys on this list have almost no competition for that spot. No one is dethroning Lamb, Hill, Chase, Jefferson, the Sun God, Average Joe on their team as the wide receiver 1. That's just not happening. And Puka Nacua isn't guaranteed that in my mind. So because of that, I'm not spending my 1st-round pick on someone that is potentially a number 2 receiver, albeit a very high, possibly the number 1 wide receiver 2 in the league, if that is how it falls. But I'm not doing that. I'm not going to choose the guy that's getting less targets than someone else on his team. That's just not how it's going to go. So, I would not spend a 1st-round pick on Puka Nacua. I think he's very high. For that reason alone, skill and everything aside, it's that reason right there. So,
would you draft Cooper Kupp in this position?
I wouldn't, because again, he falls in the same category of not being guaranteed a wide receiver 1 spot. Right? I'm not saying that Kupp is getting it. That's why Puka should be further down. I'm saying you don't know. You really don't know. I haven't lost faith in Cooper Kupp. He was injured last year. That's plain and simple. That's what it was. And then a rookie came out and was shining, so they let him have his spotlight. They let him keep going because there's no need to push Cooper Kupp right now. At this point, Cooper Kupp should be healthy. I'm not sure exactly how healthy he feels. Only he's going to know that. But if he's healthy, it's a competition for wide receiver 1 in my mind. And it could be game to game. They could scheme it for Puka this week and then Kupp the next week. So we'll have to see how that goes. But number 11, Jonathan Taylor, that guy's got no competition for the running back 1 position. That guy's got no competition for a player on the offense that's more impactful. I think that Jonathan Taylor, last year was a weird year. It was a very, very weird year. He came into the season injured. Then there was the contract stuff. Yeah, it was kind of weird. He was started on the PUP list and whatever. And Zach Moss crushed it in his absence. But Zach Moss isn't there anymore, right?
Right. Moved to Cincy.
Jonathan Taylor's the guy. And 2 years ago, there were talks of him, which I wasn't one of the people that were like, oh, he should be getting MVP votes and stuff like that, because he was only where he was because Derrick Henry got hurt. Henry was like 800 yards ahead of him or something like that. But Jonathan Taylor 2 years ago was the best running back in the league. And he's not far from that. He had, just like Kupp did, an injured season last year. He's not or he's still the same guy. I believe that. If I were to choose a running back in the first round, I wouldn't choose him in the Bijan spot. But like you said before with Breece Hall, maybe I switch him up there.
Yeah.
I would be happy with taking Jonathan Taylor first round because he's a proven talent.
Hey, yeah, and you nailed it on the head. He was the number one running back in the league 2 years ago.
Was the
Okay,
number one.
yeah, exactly. Operative word there. 2 years ago was. He came back last year, and yes, Zach Moss was crushing it behind him, and when he was being eased into the offense, also without their starting quarterback playing, it was split for the first little while, and he couldn't do anything. But then Zach Moss, close to the end of the season, I believe he got injured as well, but he also had reduced playing time, and Jonathan Taylor barely did anything with it. He was a bum. He absolutely was. And yes, running backs, or he's young. He was the top running back in the league, but that's exactly it. He also plays running back, so his reps are a whole lot different than wide receiver reps. He's getting smashed. He's going to be in the backfield with Anthony Richardson. They're going to be looking for that option play, that read option. They've got a mobile quarterback. They're going to be in the backfield most of the time. They have a quarterback who's going into year 2 that didn't get a lot of reps throwing the ball. And so that means Shane Steichen's going to have to be getting a little creative with how they move the ball. And it's going to be heavily focused on Jonathan Taylor, which is a good thing. Opportunity. Good thing in fantasy football. But again, you have, Michael Pittman Jr., who was like the first wide receiver in the offseason to get paid because they realized they ain't paying this guy upwards of $30 million. So I think a lot of focus is going to be on Jonathan Taylor. I think the quarterback situation is not the most ideal. That's why JT is a little high for me. Maybe early in the second. But who I really think should be above JT, and I can even go ahead. I'm excited for this guy over Bijan. Over Breece Hall, maybe not the question, but we have number 12, Jahmyr Gibbs, second-year running back, going for the Detroit Lions. We already spoke about them and the incredible offensive line, how the run game is incredible. You can count on them. Last year, sharing the rock with David Montgomery, and that's going to be the same. There's going to be some of that this year. We've already heard coaches say he's getting the ball more. Look for him to be in the game plan more because this guy's electric with his touches. And so they're going to give Jahmyr Gibbs a lot more, and that means a lot more fantasy points. It's very exciting. Like I said, I have him over guys like Bijan, unproven so far, and Jonathan Taylor, potentially on the decline in the short running back life.
Yeah, but you mentioned it, that he was behind David Montgomery last year. I just looked it up because there's a lot of official depth charts that are, still a work in progress that have been released. Jahmyr Gibbs is listed at RB2. I know that they share, but it's going to be, if we go by this, it's going to be more of the percentage of snaps, more of the percentage of carries will go to David Montgomery. Yes, yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs may get more out of them, but that's also not true. David Montgomery did a great job last year. He showed no signs that he would be replaced by Jahmyr Gibbs. It's not necessarily about how good Gibbs was. It's that David Montgomery was not at all bad. There was no reason that you go, ooh, David Montgomery shouldn't be the number one guy, right? He was proving it to himself, proving it to the team, proving it to the fans that he was the number one running back on that team last year. Tons of that. I don't remember how many touchdowns that guy had. That guy was a touchdown machine, I felt like.
He had 13 touchdowns last year. A lot of fantasy points.
And
he was the Jamal Williams. We've seen that Lions offense before, right?
Yeah.
He's the 1-2 punch. Of course.
And with David Montgomery, that's a lot of trust that the team has in that player, especially when they have a Jahmyr Gibbs type on the team. Jahmyr Gibbs is good. Don't get me wrong. I like that guy. But that shows you what they think of David Montgomery. You know what I mean? This isn't the Bijan Arthur Smith scenario where they're seeing Gibbs, they don't want to play him. They were playing him. But they played Montgomery more. And David Montgomery was really good for them, and he's still on the team. So this is similar to the Puka situation where I'm not going to draft the number 2 in the committee. Right? Well, especially in the first round. Exactly. Especially not in the first round. Obviously, later, you're going to have to take some guys. And I do believe, similar to Puka, that if Jahmyr Gibbs is a running back 2, that he's the best running back 2 in the league. So, and there obviously is upside, and that's what people are hoping for here is the upside if they are running back 1 or wide receiver 1 for those 2 guys. But for me, it's the same points as Puka. It's the question mark of that running back 2 position.
Hey, I hear ya. Just quickly looking at the stats, Jahmyr Gibbs, 182 carries, 945 yards, 10 touchdowns, at a 5.2 carry average. David Montgomery, 219 carries, 1,015 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 more, but he also lacked efficiency with 114th ranked, 4.6 yards per carry. Just food for thought going forward. I hear your points, RB2 potential situation. So maybe David Montgomery is a steal in the later rounds as he was last year.
But it's they give him the carries in different situations, right? Like he's going to be the up the gut kind of guy. So his percentage or his efficiency and his yards per carry could be lower because he's getting it so much more often, right? So
yeah, 100%. I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying you're wrong. And what do you think, everyone? Looks like Brandon was wrong more than I was.
I don't know about that.
First round picks. Listen to my advice over Brandon's. Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do appreciate it. If you enjoyed what you're listening to, please make sure to like the video. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of this. We are an all NFL type of channel. We love talking football all the time. Real football, fantasy football, you name it, daily, weekly, we eat it up. Brandon, send us off.
Okay, everybody. Skol Bolts, baby. Skol Bolts.
Skol Bolts.
Okay. See ya.